podcast Happy at Work. This is podcast Happy at Work. My name is Tatiana Koval, and usually in our podcast, I meet with great experts from absolutely different countries, but who also promote the idea of a people-centered approach. And today, my guest is Vanessa Raath. Hi, Vanessa.
Hello, Tatiana. Thank you very much for having me here. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm fine, thanks. And Vanessa, as usual, firstly, for introducing you to the audience, could I ask you to tell a little bit more about yourself, about your professional background?
Sure, absolutely. So we on opposite sides of the world from each other. I'm based in South Africa, and at the moment, I'm working for myself. I have done that for 7 years, and I am an AI literacy and a talent sourcing trainer for people in the recruitment industry. So very much part of the HR space, and a big part of what attracted me to your podcast when you asked me to be a guest was happy at work is often something that falls into the HR space. So I try to deliver training that makes people enjoy their jobs more, makes them more efficient at their jobs, and then at the end of the day, everyone is happier.
That's great, Vanessa. And we decided to discuss today about situations with artificial intelligence, AI, and human touch. How to the era of
Yes.
AI should we keep the human touch? And my first question is for you. What are the potential risks of implementing AI about without thinking about human side?
Okay. Very, very good question. So we do need to think about the human side because the danger is that AI can just take over all of these processes. And whether AI can do a lot of the processes, the question is, should it do a lot of the processes in the recruitment industry? So my take is that we always need the human element. We should be using, as recruiters, we should be using AI to take away all of the things we don't enjoy doing. So all of the admin, all of the repetitive, all of the boring bits of the job. And then us as recruiters, we have more time to be more human. So it's all based on how and where in the recruitment process do you use AI?
And what could you advise to the companies who want to implement AI for recruitment process? And could you give advice on both sides for company in general, because usually the topic of recruitment is a topic for a whole company, and also for the recruiter who will use it in their day-by-day life?
Okay. So the advice let's start with the company first. So the advice for the company would be there's a lot of AI solutions out there. There's a lot of AI tools. But before you even go to market and you say, I want to try all these AI tools, is look at your processes. So look at your recruitment processes and say, where do I need AI? So don't just take AI for the sake of taking AI. So if you look at, let's say, the 8 stages of the recruitment process, is it maybe your workflow that needs a little bit of help? Is it maybe on the sourcing side? Is it maybe on the outreach to passive candidates? And once you know where are the friction points, where is taking up a lot of time, what is repetitive, those are the ones that we want to put in an AI solution. So that's for the companies. Now, when it comes to the individuals, I do believe that individuals need to spend more time upskilling on AI and learning a little bit more about how it works. But one thing I want to say is you need to get really good at prompting. Because at the moment, I'm training teams all over the world with recruiters, sources, talent acquisition people, and they all seem to be, there's a big usage of OpenAI ChatGPT, but then you've got some people using Gemini and some people using Grok and some people using DeepSeek and Copilot. It doesn't matter which large language model or LLM you use, you've got to get really good at your prompts. So I recommend doing some upskilling on how to write better prompts because that means you're going to get better results and you have to do less editing on the other side.
It's
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's interesting that you start from the companies that said depends on your goals. You should define how to use AI. May I ask you,
Yes.
we have some different situations in companies you mentioned. The firstly, if we talk about it's not about active recruitment, but usually a company have a better talent pool. And
Yes.
so they have some database. How could they use the AI for more using this? Because it's like for customers, if you have a CRM system, a customer relation management system, also we have a candidate relation management system. But times to times, I see what the companies don't use these assets. How could AI could use that to use these assets as our talent pool?
Very good. So you're right. There's a lot of companies out there that have very big databases, 10,000 people, 20,000 people. Like I've seen even up to 100,000 people. But what's happening is that recruiters don't always start looking at their own ATS or CRM. So you got two things that you can do here. The first is there's a lot of really good CRMs or ATS systems these days that have AI integration. So what you can do is you can go and talk to the AI agent and you can say, go and have a look in the database, find everyone who's a machine learning engineer who I've chatted to in 2025 and want to find someone who maybe has a particular skill, and that agent will go and have a look in the CRM. So that's one way to do it. Now, unfortunately, not all CRMs or ATSs are equal. So some of them don't have the AI element yet, but there are some really good companies out there that now have an AI solution that can sit on top of any CRM or any ATS. And what that does is it allows you to search. So it makes the CRM or the ATS system way more searchable now that you have this AI solution that sits on top. So the first price would be the first one, where you're paying one price for the CRM and the AI that's built in. The second prize often, but it's really good to have, is where you have an existing CRM which you're paying for, but then you have to pay for an AI component on top of it.
Mm-hmm. If we talk about the active process of recruitment, now a lot of companies promote absolutely different solutions that use an AI. So this is a video interview which assessed by AI, and also audio interview, and also search engine special helps you to find the appropriate candidates. What could you recommend? How to use maybe in each steps of a active recruitment process, how the company should use AI and how to make a solution about using this or that decision.
Okay. So for me, it all depends on the type of recruitment that the company is doing. Okay. So if you are working in a high volume kind of recruitment, so let's say, for example, you're hiring into call centers or it's graduates where there's a lot of people, AI is the most helpful. So you could say, put out a job advert, get people to apply. You could use AI to pass the CVs, to rank them, to say who is going to be, the best candidate. And then you could set up an AI voice agent that's going to give them a phone call, ask them a few questions, maybe do a half an hour interview, add that to the results, say who communicated better. It's a great user case. So volume recruitment is great, but you can't go and expect an AI voice agent to headhunt someone who's really in demand. So let's say, for example, it's a C-level person. It's a chief marketing officer. You can't send an AI voice agent. You have to get a human to phone them, maybe take them out for lunch, have a discussion with them. And I think that that's where the key differences come into play, because there's so many really good options out there. It depends on the type of recruitment, the level, the niche, the geography, how comfortable your the people that you're trying to recruit are with using AI. So that's got a lot of different factors involved.
Mm-hmm. If we talk about perspective of a recruiter, you told what it's very important to improve your skills in prompting. How could you recommend to improve this skill, and what the recruiter should pay attention, especially in the beginning of the process of using AI?
Okay. Well, I might be a little bit biased, but that's the kind of training that I do, to be honest. So it's you can send me a message or hit me up. I see I've got a few friends in the chat. Shout out to Kim and Lee. Nice to see you guys here. But I think the key thing that you would need to do, and I'm a very big fan of the University of YouTube. I think that you can learn so much from that. And I think that that's where you're going to get the most up-to-date information. So when I recently got back from leave now, one of the first things I did was I jumped onto YouTube and I looked at what are the new developments in AI, what are the LLMs doing, what's happening with the prompts, is there any more thinking in this space? And it's about staying up to date. But the key thing to get started, and this is a good tip, is that any prompt that is less than, that is 10 words or less, is going to give you a very generic kind of answer. So my first bit of advice would be, when you're writing your prompts, to think like you're speaking to another human being. So give a lot of context, give a lot of information, and then you're going to get a better result on the other side. So the more context, the more information provided, the better the results. And this is something that's really important, because you don't want to generate something that's really generic. And then at the end of the day, what's happening is that you're spending hours editing whatever you've produced. It needs to be something that is nicely bundled, easy to use, and you maybe need to put a couple of tweaks and make it sound like you at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Vanessa, my next question for is about the side of the recruitment process as a side of candidate. Also, you said you need to think like you talk with another person. So, but if
Yes.
another side of the recruitment process is the candidates. Now we
Yes.
have a very interesting situation that could be tricks from both sides. So the recruitment prepare the vacancy, and then the candidate will prepare the CV based on this vacancy, and so on. So also it's good to have some problems during the recruitment process, during the interviews, and so on. What could you do? Which risks could they meet as a company, as a recruiter, from the candidate side, and how we could avoid them? And also for candidate, how to use the AI appropriately for avoiding situation that the company start to think what you are not the relevant candidate, or what you try to use AI more than it's more than normal, and so it decreases your chances to be hired.
Okay, good question. So what we're seeing at the moment is we're seeing candidates using a lot of AI to be hired. So they're using AI to create, CVs that look good, that sound good. They're also using AI to apply for jobs. So they're using tools that say, okay, we'll go and apply for jobs while you're sleeping, and we're going to apply for 300 jobs during the night. So that's a very interesting user case. Now, for me, candidates have been using someone to write CVs for them for decades. So using AI is not really a problem as long as you're truthful. And I think that that's the big thing that candidates need to learn, is that sometimes, we all know this, the large language models, they're not always truthful, and they have hallucinations and they make things up. And you don't want to be the person stuck at an interview when they ask you about something in your CV and you're like, what was that? I didn't put that on my CV. So that could be really awkward to begin with. Then the other situation that we have from the company side is that, because candidates are now putting together great CVs, they are using tools to apply for jobs, is that companies are ending up with loads more applications. So with one job, they may have got 10 or 30 applications to work through. They now can have 100 to 300, sometimes even more. So now the companies are using AI to try and sift through all of the candidate CVs. So it is a problem, because where is the human in the loop? Where is the human element? Where does the human come into play? And the best way for me to answer this is literally, what kind of a role are you recruiting for? So if it is a bulk role, and a lot of people have responded to job adverts, and you've got loads of people, that are keen and are willing to start work, then use AI. But if it's something that's a little bit more scarce and you don't have those volumes generated by AI, then you need the human touch, and you need the human in the loop to make sure that they are dealing with individuals, because the usage of AI can have a very serious positive impact on the business or a very serious negative impact. So it can be a terrible experience for the candidate, and then that does nothing for your employer branding. So these are all things that need to be considered. But all I'm saying on both sides, for the candidates and clients, there has to be a lot of testing before you decide that you're going to put any systems out live and you trust someone to apply for jobs on your behalf. I tried one of those jobs, and because in one of my previous lives I was a Java a specialist, a Java skills recruitment recruiter, it applied for a whole lot of Java developer jobs for me. Now, that's a problem, isn't it? So you've got to make sure that everything's tested.
Mhm. My next question for you, it's about, as I said, about how we use an AI could impact the employer brand. And I want to ask you about candidate experience, because the candidate experience have a huge impact on the employer brand perception of the candidate. And in some situation, AI could help us, for example, in giving feedback to the candidates. It's really appreciated by all the candidates. How could you recommend to use AI in improving candidate experience from if we talk about this side of the recruitment process?
So I'm actually been chatting to a company at the moment, a company out of the Netherlands, and what they've done, and it's really interesting. If you look at candidates, their biggest complaint about the recruitment industry is that they were ghosted. They've gone onto LinkedIn, they've applied for 50 jobs, and they haven't heard back from anyone. Okay. So with this tool, what it does is it will put everyone into a system. It's a system when people apply. And even if the person doesn't meet the requirements based on their CV, it says to them, tell me, when do you have some time? I want to set up some time to do a voice call. I'm the AI member of the team. And you tell me. So the candidate says, okay, well, geez, I just took a flyer. I didn't think I'd ever get a call back. But this is wonderful. I'm hearing from someone. Okay, Wednesday, 4:00 in the afternoon. That's great. You can phone me then. And what happens is that the voice agent phones. And the voice agent phones and says, on the basis of your CV, we don't think that you're suitable for this role. However, do you want to be added to a database to be kept up to date with other roles? Or we do have this other role called this. Would you be interested in it? This is a match for your skills. So would the candidate rather not hear back from anyone at all? Or would they rather hear from an AI voice agent? I think the answer is easy. At least the company got back to them. That's going to be better for your employer branding, right?
Absolutely agree with you. I think there's a huge potential of using AI for personalization, our communication with every candidate. Vanessa, I want to ask you about competency-based approach. It is a very hot topics for the last years when they start to think, how could we use AI for competency-based approach, not only for biography-based approach, not only that as we usually use the name of the company, so our candidates worked in the past for understanding, but mostly on the competency which they have. How could you recommend use AI for using this competency-based approach to the company for maybe improving or for increasing their talent pool?
Okay, excellent. So it's an interesting one because a lot of the skills, and we've been saying this for quite a while, but it's being ramped up with AI. A lot of the skills that candidates are coming out of university with aren't relevant in the workplace, but that's becoming more of a thing because of AI. So when you hire people, you would hire them based on a set of competencies. Like you have got 5 years experience in this job. This is what you did. You were part of a marketing team. You did X, Y, and Z. Now, the company which they're interviewing for has a marketing team, but they don't do X, Y, and Z because they have AI agents that do X, Y, and Z. So they want to hire someone who understands the process, understands what the end result needs to look like, understands how things should be working, but they need someone who can actually control those AI agents. Now, that's really important because it's a different set of skills. but the person has the experience to know what a good process would look like and what a good outcome would look like. But the skills needed are very different. And that's why it's becoming more difficult to interview in the future for future fit skills, depending on how advanced the company or the employer is and how far they are down their AI journey.
I think my next question will be more hard because we talked about competency, but I want to ask you about culture fit. It's much more difficult, but it's very important for a lot of company to understand about candidates and about culture fit during the process of assessment. How could you recommend to use AI for better understanding both sides? I think it's both sides because a candidate, it's really important also for him or her to understand, do I have culture fit in this corporation or no? What are your recommendations?
So I'm going to be honest, I hate the term culture fit. I really and truly do. I would much rather that we use like a culture ad, because I don't think that a company made of carbon copy individuals, everyone who looks and sounds like themselves, is going to really be able to serve a diverse set of, let's say, consumers that want to be consuming their product or their services. So from a culture ad perspective, it's a good question, because I don't think that should be up to AI. I think that's where humans, as recruiters, need to bring the human element into the conversation. And that's what I keep on saying in my training, is that AI is great. Let it take away the irritating admin. Let it take away those repetitive tasks that no recruiter ever went into recruitment because they love admin. And let humans, recruiters, do what they're good at, which is talking to people, building networks, building communities, and so on and so forth. And then also part of that comes with something that's really important that a lot of recruiters take for granted. And that is the gut feel that a recruiter has. So that gut feel will tell the recruiter whether this person actually is going to be a good addition to the team that they're going to be working in or to the company. And that's why I firmly believe that you need a human in the loop. So AI could probably come up with some assessment, could do a tick box exercise, whatever it is, but I don't think anyone's going to do that better than a human. And AI doesn't have a gut feel. So that's my 2 cents worth.
So I agree absolutely here. And next question also, it's about cross-cultural issues. If we want to increase our talent pool times 2 times, we want to hire people from other markets. But what sometimes, if we talk about people, they have some limitations. For example, the person who works in another market, maybe you are working for the leading company, but the name of this company we don't know because they are not represented in other market. For example, the German companies could not be represented, for example, in South Africa or in Brazil. So we don't understand the name of this company, but the skills and also experience could be absolutely relevant and bring something new for us. How, and this is the first part of question. The second part of questions, because we have a little bit different cultures in every countries. The candidate could speak a little bit different ways and so on. How could you recommend to use the AI of the companies who want to join the global talent pool?
So I use AI a lot for research projects. So I think that that's a great way to be able to use it. So having a diverse workforce is amazing. I think that is really important. That speaks to the culture ad part. But when it comes to understanding what other companies do, use the AI, use LLMs in order to do the research on these companies, find out how well they're doing in their markets, find out, maybe about the different cultural differences. So say, for example, you've got a German national, you're based in Brazil, you want to take someone from a German company, put them into a Brazilian company, do your research and say, find me blogs written by people who are German, who've been working in South American companies. What have been the biggest cultural shocks for them? But always ask it to be truthful, don't hallucinate, give you links to where it found its information, and use it from a researching perspective, because in life, we don't know what we don't know, and we don't want to just assume things, especially when it comes to people. So we can't suddenly turn around and say, "Oh, all Germans want to be on time, and they're very serious people." I know lots of German people that are great fun, and nothing like that. So you've got to make sure that you are looking at everyone as an individual, and then how do they fit into your organization?
Great. If we talk about recruiters, you pay attention how which skills we need to improve from a perspective of AI. But you said what it's very important with human touch in the process of recruitment. So the human touch of recruiter is very, very important. Also, what could you recommend to recruiters? Which skills, people skills, should they develop to be successful for promoting their human sides during the recruitment process?
So I foresee a future where there's a lot of companies that are paying a lot of money for AI tools that are doing a lot in the recruitment space. So they are using chatbots to go and source candidates off LinkedIn. They are emailing those candidates. They are having conversations with them. But the truth is that at the moment, every recruiter I speak to everywhere in the world is telling me we're battling to get responses from passive talent. So what I'm telling them to do, and this is such an important question, is when you reach out to someone and they see your name on the email or the WhatsApp call and they go and Google you, what do they find? Because what a human recruiter can do that AI can't is to go and build a brand. So Tatiana, you and I have never met. I was in Brazil last year, very briefly. I never met you. You found me through my personal brand and online, right? Now, that is how I get all of my work. Imagine you were the recruiter that took time to build a personal brand. You'd get more responses, because if you go and Google a chatbot with a made up name or just some name of the company, people are like, I'm not going to be interested to respond. This isn't a human being. So to get around that, human beings can actually spend more time being more human, building a brand, standing out, building a community, having a network, doing in-person events so people know them. So people know when you get an email from Vanessa Raath, oh yeah, she's a tech recruiter. I know who she is. This is great. I must read this and I must respond because it's a human being. Where I think a lot of the hard yards from a lot of companies is going to be done by AI, and then people just don't know who they're talking to, who they're dealing with, and they're not going to be interested.
Vanessa, thanks a lot for the conversation. And my last questions for you, it's also the usual questions for all my guests. Three main tips which you could give to the companies, to the recruiters who want to use AI in 2026.
Okay, good. First of all, figure out what everyone's using, because every company, all the recruiters, some are using ChatGPT, some are using Copilot, some are taking CVs and putting it into these LLMs, which they shouldn't be doing. It goes against all privacy laws. Get some uniformity in place from an AI perspective. So find out how your team's using it, because everyone's using it. You just may not believe that they are using it. So that's the first thing. So get some uniformity, figure it out. Once you figure it out, point number 2 is get some training for your recruiters, because there's the right way to be using and interacting with AI, and there's the wrong way. And the wrong way can actually end up being a bit of a disaster. I've seen a lot of LinkedIn posts lately when I just think, oh, I know this person, they don't write like that. This is a completely AI generated post. Like, show me something real. So that's the second point. And I think the third one would be, don't try and replace everything with AI in a hurry. I think that's really important, is that everyone seems to be rushing this new shiny object. AI is great when it's doing what you ask it to do. But there's a lot of cases now. For example, this new 5.2 ChatGPT, I think, is awful. It's broken a lot of my processes in the background. I don't like it. And it's thrown a lot of things out. And I had become quite reliant on them. So one thing that we need to know is how to get around and use our skills across many different AI platforms, and don't rush in and buy all of them without thoroughly testing them out.
Vanessa, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for your participation in my podcast. Thanks a lot for your energy and for all advice that you give to our audience.
Thank you so much. Good to see you.
Thanks, and I wish you a good 2026 year.
Good. Same to you. I hope it's a great one.
Okay. It was podcast Happy at Work. My name is Tatiana Kolwood, and see you soon in the next episode of our podcast.